Yeah, I mean, to your point with the Magic, because I know a lot of Pistons fans that they're looking at other rebuilding teams and they're like, okay, why are we in the position that we're in? And I know we have talked about this probably the last 2 weeks, why the Detroit Pistons are in the position they're in with rebuilding. And this was a problem long before Troy Weaver took the job. This was a team under Stan Van Gundy that made a panic move. They go out and get their star in Blake. Blake has a hell of a season to get them to the playoffs, and he's not the same player. Forced himself to be out there. He missed a bulk of um, Dwayne Casey's, I believe, second season it was because of that knee issue, and eventually got bought out. And he wasn't really the same player after that. The reason why the Pistons aren't in the same level of competition is when you look at the rebuild as a whole, they got nothing for Blake Griffin. They got peanuts for Andre Drummond. They got peanuts for Derrick Rose, which they probably could have got a little bit more for Derrick Rose, but that's a different topic for a different day. Versus Orlando, you had a Nikola Vucevic who had value. They got you an extra first from the Chicago Bulls, which allowed them to draft one of the Wagner brothers. They also got to trade Aaron Gordon. They got them some assets back. And Orlando has been a team that has drafted a lot of guards, but they're making it work. They have injuries right now, but they're still one of the best teams in the East. And they have a young, innovative coach that can relate to these players because he's in a similar age group as these kids. And Orlando plays some really good basketball. They have vets on their team. They have Joe Ingles. They have a Gary Harris that's from Michigan State. Like they have good pieces on the team. And when you watch them play, you're like, I want the Pistons to be like that. And I think why Orlando has such a good young roster right now is they have pieces that complement Paulo Banchero. They have pieces to surround him to be successful. They have a coach that, draws up plays for him to be the best version of himself. Like I think, Jalen Suggs, even though he was a very high lottery pick, he's a bench player at the end of the day, but he gives them good minutes. I mean, they have Markelle Fultz, they have Cole Anthony. They signed Joe Ingles. They got clowned for it, but Joe Ingles is, he's doing some great stuff for them right now as a vet on this team. And I think if you're a Piston fan looking at that, saying, why can't that be us? It's a couple of things. It's your vets that you traded for and, paid. They can't stay healthy. You have a team that's incredibly young that just fired Dwayne Casey, which a lot of these guys that got drafted in 2020 were under Dwayne Casey for 3 years. Now they have to learn a whole new system under Monty Williams, have to learn this 0.5 offense that I think for them is still very complicated because they're still passing up shots. A team that is incredibly young. The future is bright, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be a learning process. And I know fans don't want to hear that. They're frustrated. It's been 4 years. I'm with you on that, but you have to add context to the other teams. Like OKC has 50 draft picks.
Yeah, they got so
many.
many.
They had stars that they got to trade to fast track their rebuild. I'm not even going to count Indiana as a rebuilding team because they didn't even rebuild; they retooled. All they really did is trade Domantas Sabonis, and they got Tyrese Halliburton back. They traded a star for a star, and they still have a lot of their. They still have Miles Turner, who's a core piece that they've had for a long time. And, they got Buddy Hield, they got Tyrese Halliburton, and, they hired one of the best offensive minds in Rick Carlisle and a really good NBA coach. I think the Pistons will get there. It's just we have to wait to see what this team is before really getting our pitchforks out. See how Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey gel together. See what Bojan Bogdanovic does in the starting lineup. Seeing if he's a guy that we want to keep around, or maybe we can flip at the deadline, maybe to get more young pieces around this team. Maybe there's a position that we need to fill. Maybe it's more small forward depth. Maybe it's a veteran center. There's a lot of questions that Pistons fans have, and I don't have the answers to them. I'm not going to act like I do have the answers, but I understand the frustration. I understand the frustration of being in 4 years, and it seems like we've got like 20 wins. We're celebrating for a 25-win season, and that's not healthy. It's not. I see a lot of fans on social media where, they're like borderline depressed. Like, dude, like, why do I watch this team? Like, why do I give my time and energy to a team that is rebuilding so slowly? But I think that's why the Pistons are in the position that they're in. If you want to add anything to what I just said, I know I rambled for like 5 minutes straight, but if you want to add anything to it, go ahead.
No, I was going to say something that those other teams did that the Pistons haven't done is they didn't hold on to aging talent. When they saw, like for Orlando, they saw that it wasn't working with Vucevic, they got him out. They saw it wasn't working with Aaron Gordon, they got him out. Oklahoma City, they were like, yeah, Russell Westbrook, we appreciated all you've done for this team, but we no longer can build around you. We've seen that it does not work with you as the main guy. Just like it has at every stop where they thought he could be the main guy, it does not work. And the Pistons, you just mentioned Bojan's name. Last year was the time to trade him. Like when teams were willing to offer you a first-round pick, you should have taken it. I mean, I know I was on this podcast saying like, well, his game's going to age. This team's going to be better next year. He could really help. That was stupid. You should have got rid of him. You should have traded him. You should have traded him for Alec. You should have traded Alec Burks as well. That's what you need to do. And I don't know. I'm looking at some of these Pistons players, and I'm just like, dude, some of the wrong guys might be here for a long time because the Pistons believe in loyalty instead of saying, hey, dude, this is a business. You know what I'm saying? Like, you traded Sadiq Bey for nothing when the time was, if you were going to get rid of him, you should have got rid of him after he had his 50-point game going into the offseason. You know what I'm saying? That would have been the moment to trade him. We all saw the writing on the wall with that, but then you get James Wiseman for him, and you trade so many second-round picks. It's so weird. Like, just some of the decisions are just, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it and looking at these other teams as I'm trying to defend the Detroit Pistons and everything they've done, it's stupid. Like, it's dumb. They took a franchise that we both love and enjoyed watching for many, many times. I mean, damn, dude, I've been watching the Pistons since I was 11 years old. I'm 33 now. I've dedicated 23 years of my life to watching the Detroit Pistons. And, dude, I've sat through some bad seasons. Yeah, I got to see one championship, and that was really cool. Still get goosebumps thinking about it, but I want more. I want a winning team. I want to see that. I don't want to see them hold on to players and not get anything for them and trade them at the wrong time. If you're going to make these decisions, make them and be firm. Make them and be firm in your decisions and seriously build a winner. Just do that. I mean, yeah, it's hard, and it's so much easier said than it's so much harder than just me saying, yeah, build a winner. Because there's a lot of factors that play into it. But seriously, start putting the pieces in place to do this. It's just becoming a joke.